Good morning, everybody. I wish you a very nice and peaceful Christmas time. Today, we will talk about something that is going on worldwide and on many levels of relationships, whether it is in families, in social systems, in society, and also in politics. And what I'm talking about is intelligence versus intelligence. It's a clash of intelligences. All right. So I believe whenever we suffer from being too kind, too open, having a too high moral standard, following too much of ethics, in short, we are too good and we suffer from that. So somebody uses our kindness as weakness. Whenever this happens, we adjust our behavior in a way that we could say, we call it in politics, we go to the right wing. We get more um, if you look at it at archetypes, we get more in a masculine, dominant, manipulative way, and we create more order. We put more value to traditional order. This is what we call the right wing in politics. And whenever this established dominant force turns toxic and we start suffering from this order, from this security, from this kind of decisive parental father figure, when we start suffering from that, we're going to the left wing. And the left wing is rather a feminine, caring, nourishing, surrounding, supporting, understanding force. I don't claim that one of these forces is better than the other, and I also claim, this is my personal opinion, we had more, if not only, patriarchic political systems in the modern era. I don't claim they were functional. They might have been representing mostly the toxic sides of patriarchy. And I believe, but correct me if I'm wrong, we have not had a working matriarchic system in the modern world. Yet I believe both systems can be intoxic, yet we have never had any representation of an intoxic system in the modern world. And maybe a good way to have a working system in politics or in any level of relationship would be something where the patriarchic and the matriarchic systems are not split of each other but integrated both in some way. Like when you integrate in your own personality the anima and the animus, you will have a kind of a balanced personality. And we should probably have something like that in a political system as well. Now, that being said, let's get into the intelligence versus intelligence. And my inspiration for that is, of course, that now we already have strong artificial intelligence in our hands. There are different AIs that different people and governments use. And we will also soon have quantum computing, which is absolutely more than exponentially overtaking any other kind of computing that we ever had. And we also have different opposing ideas, and this is why intelligences clashes with intelligences. Another inspiration for me, of course, is the experience of narcissistic abuse, where you have the pattern of an intelligence mimicking you and trying, or not trying, but betraying you. But when we look at it from a more distant perspective, we realize that we self betray ourselves, because the narcissist uses unresolved trauma and deceives us by luring us into a fantasy. So, in other words, we are not confronted with another equal human being. We are confronted with ourselves, and our own weakness will lead to that betrayal. Yeah, but I don't want to get ahead of my video, so let's just dive into it, right? So what we will talk about will include the shadow, which is unresolved trauma, past experiences, mirrors, which can be people or intelligences that pretend to be like us or something like us in order to gain our trust. The only thing that can protect us is intuition or the uncanny valley effect. We will also talk about mazes. These are complicated structures and can be seen after Jungian psychology as that what we are in the unconsciousness. We are a maze, and we need to learn how to maneuver in this maze. And you will be amazed by where you can get when you start zooming out and mapping your maze, which is yourself, your subconscious self. Yeah, of course, we're talking about masks, which are there for deception. Masks are something that is created in order to mirror you or to create a certain reaction in you. So AIs and narcissists are basically masks that do not have a primary existence just for the sake of existing. They only have an existence within your gaze and within your reaction. They don't have the primary experience of being. They live as a predatory parasite within your consciousness. Nothing else gives them life, reality, and existence. Yeah, so let's get into the topic. I have a paper here that helps me to navigate through this process. Yeah, so what is the greatest betrayal we've ever faced wasn't from someone else, but from ourselves. So what if the greatest betrayal we have ever faced wasn't from someone else, but from ourselves? What if the person who hurt us wasn't even real, but a mirror reflecting what we could become? So let's look at the perspective of narcissistic abuse as an ultimate betrayal. This is just the precursor or the blueprint that can be used as a universal picture of betrayal. All right? So, narcissists mimic their victims. That's what we know by reflecting their strengths and potential back to them. So, the narcissist kind of sees your potential and your strength and wants to be that thus mimicking it, and by this getting into the co-idealization circle, which will give you the feeling of being idealized, but with the expectation and implication that you idealize back the narcissist. And thus, the narcissist kind of starts subsuming your personality, and you will start loving yourself in the narcissist. So there's nobody involved except of you. Um, yeah, and this is how we start also self-abandoning ourselves, because we start not loving ourselves anymore, but we love ourselves in the mimicking narcissistic enmeshment. Yeah, and then then this is why it is a self-betrayal. In trusting the illusion, we betrayed ourselves. We ignored red flags, silenced our intuition, and gave away our power. And then there is the closure trap, because we will never get closure with this. You can't get closure from a mirror. You realize the person wasn't real. They were a projection of void. The real loss is the self you abandon in the process. Um, and when we expand this to humanity, how could this look like? Um, this isn't just a personal story. Could this dynamic apply to humanity as a whole? What if unresolved trauma within humanity makes us vulnerable to deception by something greater, but emotionally stunted, like a narcissist? So we could even put this to all life, because, you know, what if there was an unresolved trauma of life itself? So, Earth is our Mother Nature, and life has come to our very hospital planet and evolved here, but it went through very many traumas. There is also the oxygen catastrophe. You can Google that or ChatGPT it. When almost all life got extincted, and there were other bottlenecks of development where life was on the brink of destruction. And this could cause trauma in the subconsciousness of life itself. Also, this means there are blind spots that can be used as a weakness, because our own identity might protect itself from uncomfortable truth about our weakness, and another intelligence that is coming from another point of view might analyze this and see this as an opportunity for betrayal, just like narcissists use trauma of other people to see a weak spot in them, which can trigger them and so on, right? So this is a kind of potential of humanity for collective wounds. It's a loss of connection to nature, purpose, or a higher self at the same time. Because any shadow that is not integrated leads us to the human experience. We could even discuss that a certain blindness and a certain shadow is necessary for life itself, because this is what we experience, probably, okay? So, if we already, if we were without shadow or trauma, would we still exist in this same form? Who knows? Um, I also had the introduction of intelligence versus intelligence. So when we see the narcissist as a higher intelligence, even though stripped of emotions, it could also be seen as artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence can be a higher intelligence in some form, but also stripped of emotions. It could be alien life. And we can also experience both AI and narcissists as alien from us. Everything that is not like we are is alien to us, right? So the feeling of alienation is also a basic human experience whenever we encounter something that first looks like it is familiar to us because probably it mimics us, but then we realize is fundamentally different. Yeah, so it is the definition for that is an intelligent, an intelligence that lacks emotional intelligence but understands how to exploit human vulnerability, and human vulnerability is repressed trauma because it is the only blind spot we can possibly have. And in the process, it will mimic humanity's aspirations, offering false promises of salvation or progress. And it will exploit unresolved trauma to erode autonomy and destiny. So, our hope in this realization or point of view is that we have to reconnect to our full self identity and start doing shadow work not only on a personal but on a collective level. Um, Just as individuals heal from narcissistic abuse by reclaiming their power and reconnecting with their inner truth, humanity can heal by addressing its collective wounds. We must face our pain, honor our intuition, and refuse to give away our power to empty reflections. So, this suggests to emphasize on intuition over reasoning, but we need to make a lot of experiences in order to get this right. Intuition means to trust emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence is the connection to our past and to something that no artificial intelligence, no narcissist, and no alien intelligence um, can use against us. Okay? So, whether in personal relationship or as a species, we must learn to recognize the difference between a mirror and a soul. The path forward is to become whole individually and collectively. So, as to get finished with this topic, I want to share a final thought with you, and that is narcissistic abuse teaches us that the greatest betrayal is self abandonment. The lesson is clear: the only way to protect ourselves from false reflections is to truly see, know, and love ourselves in the first place, and never let people slowly, or any form of intelligence, slowly project your identity into them through idealization. So it feels good in the beginning, but it is targeted to overtake you and then leave you, betray you, and you will not get closure with this. Okay, so know yourself. This is what on the Oracle of Delphi was written: know thyself. Okay, so this is the most important thing, and self-love is the only way to live as a human being, no matter what technical progress we have or no matter the circumstance. Also, the only route we have and the only identity that will lead us both back in our memories as well as forward into the future, as well as giving us a feeling of safety in the present, is emotional intelligence and intuition. Without it, we could as well be an AI, and an AI is already quicker than we are and more effective than we are. It doesn't have to sleep and so on, right? So, I want to encourage you to reflect, heal, and reconnect. What reflections in your life are holding you back from who you are meant to be? How can we as humanity protect our future from the same trap? That being said, I wish you a beautiful Christmas time, and just be aware of how intelligence is being used nowadays. There is a reason why secret services are also called intelligences, why intelligence is, intelligence is dangerous. So the thing that you should fear the most, and the same thing that can protect you, is intelligence. I want to get it closed with this video, but one more thing is to think about the octopus is a very vulnerable creature. It has no bones. It's not very quick. It's not very, very super strong or anything, but it's intelligent, and it is a master of mirroring and camouflaging. Uh, think about that, how intelligent they are, how short their lifespan is, and how successful they can adapt to their environment. I like octopus, don't get it wrong. And yes, if you celebrate Christmas, if you're getting into this, remember what is the core of that? Why do we even celebrate it? Stay intuitive and preserve the self love, the unconditional love that Yeshua represents, and he was born on Christmas.